Another country that often faces criticism over environmental issues is the US. But just as Washington has recently started to pay attention to green issues, many city mayors in America are also taking action to minimise their city's environmental footprint. One example is New York, where the mayor's office has just launched an aggressive plan to reduce carbon emissions by 30% over the next 2 decades, despite predictions the population will expand by 1 million at the same time.
New York City, the Big Apple, or if local politicians have it their way, the Green Apple.
Well, we are aiming to be the greenest city in America, and that's not an easy thing or not an easy claim to make, particularly since we're an old city with old systems, old infrastructure. We also happen to be growing very quickly.
Turning a city like New York green isn't just about creating more parks, it's all about reducing the city's emissions. One of the first steps is to replace the city's 13,000 cabs with hybrid-fueled cars over the next couple of years. But turning the famous yellow cabs green is just a drop in the ocean. If they want to be serious about reducing their environmental footprint, the focus needs to be on these. New York's almost 1 million buildings are the biggest energy sinners.
About 80% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the city come from buildings, and we use about 95% of our electricity in buildings, and we use about 85%, 90% of our water in buildings.
And with new builds, even more improvements are feasible, as designers can think green from the drawing board up. The lion's share of work needs to be done on the vast number of pre-existing buildings. Without reducing their energy impact as well, a new green skyscraper here and there would be mostly symbolic. And while it does cost money to turn an old building green, the economic upsides make it worthwhile.
It's almost getting to the point to why wouldn't you do it? Because again, the offsets in the energy savings you have going forward in maintaining and operating the building will more than pay for any investment you make in the building.
We've looked at all the math, and the thing about going green is it does not have to undermine the economics of a business or the financial health of a city. What we found here in New York is that being green means generating revenue and also means saving money for a city or a company.
New York's goal of slashing emissions by 1/3 in only 20 years, at a time when its population is growing vigorously, may be hugely ambitious. But if it is successful, it could prove once and for all green and growth are not incompatible.